Philips digital widescreen TV. It really is worth shouting about.
Is there a problem, officer?
I'm afraid there is, sir.
I wasn't speeding, was I?
No, sir. It's a little bit more serious than that, I'm afraid.
What is it?
It's my gas supplier.
What?
I just wanted to ask your advice.
Okay, so worrying about your gas supplier isn't the most important thing in life. But you do have a choice. That's why at Empower, we're always working to lower your bills.
I see 9 to 5 this weekend. I see 9 to 5 next weekend. I see 9 to 5 every weekend. I see offers free online time from 9 to 5 every weekend and free access. Call at your local Esso service station to pick up a free CD or call 0870 90 90 925.
Remember, all local numbers within London now have 8 digits, starting with a 7 or an 8. It's all part of the big number.
Mark tells us you do work in the community. So what was it you did at university? And I hear you're fond of needlework. So tell us, how did you two meet?
Bacardi Breezer. There's Latin spirit in every one.
Tart?
Behold, the almighty, mighty mint dispenser has arrived to dispense mighty mints far and wide. Thank you, tree ball.
With more refinement, more performance, and more control. The new Rover 25. Extraordinary drive.
So, imagine you're an NBA player. For the last 6 months, you've travelled thousands of miles, playing hundreds of minutes in the 82 games of the regular season. And now, you've got to get yourself fit and, more importantly, psyched up for the playoffs. So how do you do it? Well, who better to ask than our men on the inside?
I think after 82 games of regular season play, people sometimes get tired.
When the playoffs come, everyone's forgot all about the marathon, and now it's just time for the sprint, and people really get geared up and get tired, and the game becomes a lot more physical and a lot more demanding.
During the playoffs, though, the primary concern for basketball teams is to keep players healthy. So people don't really work any harder during the playoffs, but they're really, the main focus is to be more concentrated on the little details to help you win basketball games.
Robinson blocked it, Duncan saved it.
When the playoffs start, the intensity goes way up.
The playoffs, we know, they're another level up, because if you lose 2 games in a row, 3 games in a row, you're done in the playoffs. Whereas in the regular season, you can get away with a 5-game losing streak and still be all right.
The Rose Garden in Portland was the hot spot for this Western Conference showdown.
This place is exploding already.
Scottie Pippen and his Trail Blazers look to start the playoffs with a bang against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Sabonis down low. Steve Smith in his first playoff game with the Blazers. Hits his first shot. Pippen gets by Zerbiak. Scottie Pippen goes down hard after an impressive move. Stoudemire tied up nicely by Brandon. Pippen going right at Zerbiak. My, oh my. Scottie Pippen, beautiful move. Pippen's putting a clinic on. Sky high, the expectations for this team. They are supposed to do no worse than battle very hard with the Lakers in the Western Conference Final, but a lot of work to be done before that. Garnett pulls down. Stoudemire, 1-on-3.
Portland were blazing from the outset. Their floor leader was Pippen, having won 6 titles with the Bulls. He showed his mates what it takes to win in the playoffs.
Pippen again continues to look for his offense, and Scottie Pippen now 5 of 6 from the field. Scottie Pippen continues his fine shooting, his second three-pointer. Pippen using Grant, gets inside again. Scottie Pippen can't miss here in the opening quarter.
Portland took an impressive 11-point lead by the end of the first quarter. In the second, Minnesota bounced back.
Brandon finding some room. Terrell Brandon knocking it down. Brandon in traffic. Tough shot from Terrell Brandon. 1-point lead for the Blazers. Brandon shooting very well.
Minnesota's lead was short-lived. Late in the second quarter, they trailed 46-43.
Garnett. Wallace again falling away, and Kevin Garnett was 3 of 9 from the field. What he's done the other things.
Hard to pick up an offensive foul when you fade away like that, but that's the kind of shot Kevin Garnett likes to take in post situations. You think, having worked with Kevin McHale, he would have developed more of a power game at this point, but I'm sure it'll come in time.
Steve Smith operating. Nice pull-up from Smith with 4.1 remaining. They'll have time to get off one more. Brandon throws it ahead to Garnett. That's a two-pointer. Oh! Kevin Garnett at the buzzer. It's back-to-back shots for Minnesota. And the T-Wolves hanging tough, and a 1-point game after the first 2 quarters.
Minnesota looked to pick up where they left off in the first half, and this jump shot gave them the lead. The T-Wolves felt confident, so they kept the pressure on the attack.
1-point lead for Minnesota. Brandon. Once again, Terrell Brandon with 12 points.
Minnesota was also very active on the defense end, so Portland had to scramble to get a clear shot at the basket.
Stoudemire hoists up the 3. Damon Stoudemire now with 18 points.
As the third quarter wound down, the T-Wolves were up 3.
Minnesota will go into the fourth quarter with a lead.
Trying to find a shot.
Brandon puts it in. The three-pointer for Terrell Brandon, and their largest lead of the game. 6-point lead for Minnesota. Opening minute, fourth quarter. Game 1, the best-of-5 series. The T-Wolves trying to win one on the road against the team with the second-best record in the regular season. Sabonis finding the way, and that is his first field goal. Sabonis given room, and hits it. Arvydas Sabonis, just his second field goal, but it put Portland within 2.
Later, Portland cut the deficit to 1 and went to work on defense.
Nesterovic inside, knocked out of his hands, picked up by Pippen. This place is ready to explode. Brandon giving Anthony some room. Anthony likes to take those threes. Sabonis against Nesterovic. Makes his move. Feeds inside to Wallace. Wallace trying to and Portland has their first lead of the fourth quarter.
Everyone was on their feet at the Rose Garden after each team traded foul shots. Portland got the ball back with a 1-point lead.
Coming up on 3 minutes remaining. Pippen over Sealy, drops it in. Standing ovation once again at the Rose Garden. Blazers a 3-point lead.
Minnesota answered back on their next possession, so Portland had the ball up a point with about 2.5 minutes to play.
Sabonis inside, flips it up. And Garnett comes down. Sabonis screaming for a foul. Healy on a penetration. Garnett off the mark. Pippen the rebound. Pippen struggling with his dribble for a moment, and then slows it down. Stoudemire for 3. Wallace right there for the rebound. Rasheed Wallace puts the Blazers back up by 3.
Well, the early part of the first quarter, the Timberwolves were getting hurt on the offensive glass. They seemed to clean that up and take care of business, but that's a devastating play right there, not getting a body on Rasheed Wallace.
Nobody was near him. Under 2 to play. Garnett, the hop step, tough shot, won't go. Pippen the rebound. Wallace has played Garnett well all afternoon. The Blazer defense has been brilliant here in the fourth. Scottie Pippen draws the foul, and Pippen hurt as he falls down.
But this playoff-tested Warrior scraped himself off the floor and stepped to the free throw line, where he knocked down both shots to give Portland an 87-82 lead with about 1.5 minutes to play.
And the lead is 5. The 26 points are a season high for Pippen. Peeler tied up. The T-Wolves look a little rattled on offense. Brandon picks it out. Pippen all over Peeler. Peeler falling back, not even close. Smith the rebound. Sensational defense from Scottie Pippen.
After his defensive stop, Pippen was fouled and once again knocked down his free throws to put the game out of reach.
The Portland Trail Blazers take game one at home.
Right now is the time of year when teams expect their big-name, highly paid players to deliver. And for Portland, Scottie Pippen is doing just that. But how are the other big names doing now that the chips are down? Well, here's Russ with the rest of the first-round news.
Thanks, Bev. The four matchups in the West are Sacramento against the LA Lakers, Seattle at Utah, Minnesota faced Portland, and Phoenix tackled the reigning champions, the San Antonio Spurs. For $25 million a year, the Lakers expect Big Shaq O'Neal to bring home the championship this year.
This man is possessed. He's got one thing in his mind, winning a championship. I've never seen him better.
Shaq racked up 46 points to give the Lakers a 1-0 lead. Kobe Bryant showed up in Game 2 with 22 points. 2-0 Lakers. Make room for the broom. Number 2 seeds Utah turned to the mailman, Karl Malone, and he was ready, willing, and able.
Malone will have to take the three. And that's the kind of day it's been for Karl Malone.
With a devastating 48 points, he was shooting for half a century.
Here he is, maybe the last chance. He's got it! 50!
Advantage to Utah, 1-0. And apparently one spanking wasn't enough for Seattle. They flopped again. They're 2-0 down in the series. Reigning champions San Antonio lost a low-scoring opener at home to Phoenix. A huge away win for the Suns. San Antonio did rally in Game 2, so the series is tied heading for Game 3 in Phoenix. Big name, big game. Scottie Pippen was king as Portland lead Minnesota 2-0.
Flipping it to Pippen for three. Every chamber is filled for Scottie Pippen. Pippen against Jackson on the mismatch. He'll try to exploit. And goal! A riveting play by Scottie Pippen. And the Portland Trail Blazers go up on the Minnesota Timberwolves 2 games to none.
In the Eastern Conference, Milwaukee faced top-ranked Indiana. Detroit heads south to Miami. Toronto are at New York, and Philadelphia travel to Charlotte. It was Philadelphia's Allen Iverson who went large against Charlotte. His 41 points secured a key away win.
And for Steele, Iverson goes up and scores on a 360.
In Game 2, it took overtime to separate them, but Charlotte tied up at 1-1. Alonzo Mourning was another star to turn in a stellar performance as he destroyed Detroit in Game 1. Despite losing Grant Hill to an ankle injury, Detroit kept it close, but not close enough in Game 2.
We're tied at 82. In the hands of Nash for the lead. The Heat have won! The Heat have won Game 2!
Top seeds Indiana should have swept Milwaukee in their 2 home games, but the Bucks rattled the Pacers by taking Game 2 of the series. They now head for Milwaukee, tied at 1-1. And finally in New York, Air Canada took off in Game 2, giving Toronto a big fourth-quarter lead. No panic from the Knicks, though. They recovered to make it 2-0.
Knicks down by 1. Sprewell in corner. Sprewell now makes his move. Stops, pulls up. It's good! Latrell Sprewell gives the Knicks the lead with 7.9 remaining. Carter guarded by Sprewell way out. Time is running down. Carter, and there is the shot. It misses. The Knicks have it and have won. Thrilling 84-83 victory.
Remember, there are 3 playoff rounds in each conference, and then it's the best of 7 games in the NBA Finals. On Tuesday on ITV2, we've got a massive East Coast tussle for you as Philly try and edge out Charlotte in Game 3 of their series. And then on Thursday, will it be 3 playoffs?